fought all types of shin guards and keep padding it up. But yeah, just as soon as it gets hit, it just flares up again, and then yeah, it's just really hard to keep on running. But I think I'm going to get scans done on Monday. Hopefully it's not a fracture or anything like that. But yeah, I think it's just a couple of weeks at most.
Do you know how you got the injury to begin with?
Yeah, no, it happened 3 weeks ago, and yeah, just I had a pretty I wouldn't even call it a shin guard, I called it more of a pad, and yeah, copped a knee right to the shin, and then copped another one, and then copped another one right after it, and then yeah, just been labouring it for the last 3 weeks, and today, yeah, that clash I had in the second quarter just sort of ended it.
Ruckmen are priceless in local footy, so how much pressure is there from the club on you to get out there and play and get up and play each week in this situation?
That's right, yeah. Even when I did the injury, they wanted me to go and sit in the forward line, but I couldn't even strap it with padding because the actual pressure on the shin was just not letting me run at all. So yeah, I didn't want to be that type of player to yeah, be selfish and sit out there and do nothing. So yeah.
Club was on a 5-game losing streak. You've now won 2 in a row. When you're on a losing streak like that, who are some of the boys in the locker room that pick up the spirits and make sure that everyone's still focused and doesn't get too down and dejected?
Well, I think Raaf, he's been a big part of our belief and getting that back, and obviously Rubber being the way he is, and you know, he makes us. He pretty much brings, you know, he wants the players to go out there and be proud to wear that jumper, and I think we lost that. You know, a few weeks ago, and now we've got that back. So I reckon, you know, hopefully we'll come out in the next couple of weeks and find Craigieburn and show the rest of the league that we're here to make finals.
How much belief is there in the group at the moment? Because as everyone knows, Essendon 4 Division 1 is a very, very open division. And especially today, I mean, the loser's only 1 game back from relegation, whereas the winner, which happens to be, luckily for you, Hadfield today, only 1 game away from the top 4 at the moment. So
yeah.
How much belief is there in the group that perhaps maybe that September action might be a possibility for you?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I think now we're going to stop worrying about getting relegated. Now there's going to be a lot more belief in trying to push for finals. I think when you got that pressure of, you know, are we going to even be able to stay in this league, it gets into the boys' heads. But I think now that we're going to be able to make finals, I think the belief structure is back, and confidence, and obviously consistency is going to be a big part. So I think if we can string three wins together, it's going to help us, you know, get up to that top 4 spot.
And just one more question for me. Judd Bruce, I thought he was really good at apparently making his debut today. Yeah, you know, it must be really, you guys must be really happy to see a young fella come into the side and have such an immediate influence at senior level.
Yeah, he's part of that Cannons crew that we seem to all have here. And Juddy, for me, I've been hanging for him to come play in the senior group for a while now. As soon as he got named, I was like, finally, you know, yeah. I was wrapped for him. And today his contested possessions were, for someone his age to come out and do what he did, I think the guy, he should be playing for Cannons. Like, he's just a gun. And yeah, I love him. If he wants to play for us every week, I'll cop that.
Well, Ferras, all the best with the scans. Hopefully it's good news. Yeah. And hopefully for Hadfield's sake, you're back out there soon. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, guys.
Welcome back to EDFL Review. Final score today in Essendon 4 Division 1. Hadfield 11-17-83, defeating Oak Park 12-4-76. And the victorious coach, Robert Don, has joined us here in the commentary box. Robert, congratulations. 2 wins in a row, so Hadfield now moving up the table. Hard fought today. What's your instant reaction to the performance you've just seen?
Just relief. We're just really happy to get another win on the board. Oak Park's been pretty good lately, and so we thought we were up against it today. And yeah, we fought hard all day, and we're just wrapped to get the victory.
The decision process for Ferras to come off at half-time, when we saw it, you know, Mastra Pascal was having quite a good game at the time, and we thought it might have been a turning point, but funnily enough, it was actually a turning point for your guys to work harder and kick away. I mean, how big a decision was that, and was there an element of risk involved in taking him out of the game and putting him in cotton wool for the rest of the day?
Well, I didn't want him in cotton wool, and so I was hoping he'd come back on, but he was just a bit too sore, and so we had to make some adjustments, and Heath McKercher went into the ruck, who really did well, and I think he gave us a lot more run around the ground, and it actually did benefit us in some ways.
Rob, congratulations on the win today. I thought you guys fought really hard. Going inside 50, you must have been a little bit disappointed at times with the finishing of some of the guys. 11-17, really, we sort of thought that the game could have been over at three-quarter time.
Yeah, 100%. I just think, you know, sometimes you kick well, sometimes you don't, and today, you know, we had a lot of scoring shots, but unfortunately we missed a few easy ones, and what can you say? You know, at the end of the day, luckily we're able to win with that lack of basically scoring goals instead of points.
And one thing I sort of thought that was reflected in the way that you guys play, you've got a lot of guys with a lot of grit, a lot of in and under type players. And one thing that maybe you shouldn't say, but the opposition coach actually suggested to their team at three-quarter time at Oak Park that they probably had a more talented list than you. And I don't sort of disagree with that in some aspects, but today the real grit and that tackling pressure and endeavour and intensity was really on display, and you must be really proud of that sort of culture that you've been able to create.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's been lacking at times. At times we're not hard enough at the footy and we're not winning our contested footy. But today, I just think we had our black armbands on for a couple of reasons today. And I did say to the guys that the level of commitment with head over the footy was compulsory today. And I think even some of our outside players who maybe are better finishers worked hard inside. And then just with the finishing, I think we are a good finishing side normally, and we normally do, finish well. But today I just think they're a little bit off, but our inside stuff was great, and I think that did obviously help us win.
Every time we come to Hadfield, it's a bit like young talent time. There's plenty of good talent on display. Michael Tang, obviously, we know a little bit about him, but Judd Brewster played his first game today. What was your assessment on his senior debut?
I was absolutely rapt. I mean, he's in the Cannons under-17 squad, and that was his first game today because he was injured early in the year. And then we put him into the 18s and let him have a run for a few weeks. And we've had a few injuries, and I asked him to come up this week, and I thought he was sensational. I thought he provided a lot of run, good overhead, but his contested footy and his ability to put his head over the footy for his first senior game was fantastic. So I was rapt for him, and hopefully that advances his chances of getting on the Cannons list next year.
Who would you say was your best? Because I would have thought that Daniel Ferraro was outstanding, except for the odd turnover. I thought that McKercher, as you said, was fantastic. But also, Nigel Maddie, he had a pretty fearsome sort of performance in the back 50. Who would you have picked out today as your best on ground?
Well, I think in the end, probably Heath McKercher, just because he had to go into that ruck role. And without us being able to compete there, I think we would have struggled. But the Maddies, we've got the two twins, Neil and Nigel. They've only came back the last few weeks, so got a rugby background, and they came back and been playing recently. So having both of them in adds some fearsome tackling pressure. So they were fantastic as well, and Ferraro always gets plenty of it.
And Rob, just on that topic, you said that Heath had to pinch hit in the ruck. I thought you guys managed that situation really well, especially in the second half. But do you have a ruckman to come in should Ferras not be available next week?
Yeah,
next game?
we've got another ruckman who was out injured today, and so he'll be back next game as well. We've probably got 7 or 8 out at the moment, and so that's where the twins have come in, and we've got Judd Brewster come in, and it's going to be interesting to see who gets back in now because the guys that have come in will be holding their spot. So
good problems to have.
It's good. It's great.
And the bye certainly helps with that next week as well. We did speak to Ferras after the game, and I'm curious to get your thoughts because I asked him just what sort of level of belief is within the group at the moment because in Essendon 4 Division 1, just about that 4th spot could go to 5 or 6 different clubs. How confident are you that Hadfield can really be one of those clubs that can push for finals? I mean, how much belief is there in this group at the moment that a big second half of the year and you might just be a chance?
Well, the beauty is, as I spoke to Teo earlier in the week, like that gives us 3 wins now. And basically, I think that West Meadows is on 4. So we're 1 game plus percentage out of the top 4. We've got 7 or 8 blokes out of our side. We were up against Tullamarine at three-quarter time. We had a good lead against West Meadows. But what happens at times with a young group is they can fall away for patches. And now the last couple of weeks that we've been able to work for 4 quarters, if they can do that, I think we've got the talent to match anybody. But it's just a matter of having that level of consistency. So I believe that we've got a good opportunity. Definitely.
Rob, on a bit of a lighter note, I really liked watching Jack Wallace today. Not necessarily for his presence on the field, but I thought there was a few times there where he may have slid on the ground for a little bit longer than necessary. There's a lot of bravado about the way he plays. What's he like around the group? Is he a bit of a character?
Oh, he's fantastic. He's our captain, one of our captains, him and Raaf.
Yep.
And Jack is a fantastic footballer and a leader. And yeah, look, I just think he's a classy footballer. And he might slide here or there, but I think a lot of the times he still wins the footy and he's able to, follow up his bravado with ability. And look, he's one of our best players and leads the club really well.
And just lastly, when are you going to get them to build you a coaching box? Because standing on top of the bench it might be a good vantage point, but I'm sure you'd like a bit of shelter on a day like today.
When it's a bit windy as well, can you bit dangerous, perhaps.
Well, when it's windy, it's okay because I'm heavy enough to hold.
Okay.
But let's be careful that I don't fall through the coach's box. So you look from the council, I think it's about 80 grand to build those things. And at the moment, we're just trying to, build our list. And if I had extra money, I want to maintain our kids. But if anyone out there wants to sponsor us for a coach's box, well, we'd really appreciate it. So any of the listeners that want to help us out, please give us a call.
Maybe some windscreen wipers as well for the Don Pavilion.
Can you borrow the box, Tao, if we're not using it on any particular broadcast?
Well, Craigie Byrne at DS Aitken in 2 weeks' time. Enjoy the weekend off. Congratulations on the result today, Rob, and all the best going forward.
And thanks, guys, and thanks for coming down and supporting us today. It's much appreciated.
About to jump into the box and speak to us now, Raaf Rachrache, the co-captain of the Hadfield Football Club. Raaf, as we welcome you to the broadcast, congratulations on your performance today. A great win for the team first and foremost. How important was that 4 points this afternoon?
That was a very important 4 points. I think after our Glenroy game that's been in the media a little bit, after our blowing half-time lead, that we really needed to get another win on the board. And now we're on track, back on track for the top 4. So, you know what, we've got a good young list and we're hoping to play finals football this year.
Today really seemed a lot about will, a lot about commitment, and you guys were at the bottom of more packs and seemingly willing to work that little bit harder. When you look at the final margin and how close it was, do you think back to incidents through the game that were little statements or little turning points, and how important all those ended up being in the final score? Yeah,
you can't pick out 1 point. It was a 4-quarter effort. I think our first quarter we started off a little bit slow, and I reckon we kept them in the game. We kicked something like 17 behinds to their 4, so we probably could have put them away before half-time. But everyone it was a 22-player effort today, and it was fantastic that everyone put in, and it was a good win.
Raaf, congratulations on the win and your performance today as well. Not afraid to use the F word, mate. So that belief in the group, you guys are really eyeing off the finals now, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, for sure, mate. Look, a young list, been together for a few years. It's my second year down at the club, and the belief around the club's enormous that we can push to play finals football. We've given a few of the top teams a run. Just fallen a bit short, but hopefully we're bigger and better the next time we play them, and with a bit of belief. Having 2 in a row, have a good week off, and then come back, try to get a third one.
And Rafa, obviously, you've got some good young players coming through the group. We've mentioned his name a number of times, Judd Brewster, today. He thought he had a sensational debut. Tell us about how, I guess, some of these younger guys are coming into the side and having an influence straight up.
Yeah, I think it helps with Juddy coming through, and a lot of our players are below 21, so I think the group being so close together gives the young blokes belief that they could come in and play their natural football. And I reckon that's the most important with especially a debutant. Coming in, he's got to believe that he can play his own football and not try to play different style because he's playing seniors. And I think, we give Juddy and all the other young blokes, we tell them play as well as you can and like you do in the under-18s. And, I think he played a fantastic game. He's close to one of our best.
In the third quarter, you got 21 points up, which was the biggest lead either way all game, and then Oak Park kicked 3 goals in 4 minutes. Were there any similarities out there to the Glenroy game or some of the other big runs that have gone against you this year? And I guess what stopped that run? Because Oak Park had the momentum, and you guys managed to basically put out that spot fire and re-establish a bit of dominance on the game. What actually changed out in the middle to stop Oak Park's run?
I think it's the team calling tempo, so we'll play tempo footy, get the game back on our terms, and I think that was really important in the third quarter. And I reckon maybe the siren going would have helped us a little bit just to stop their run. And then, our last quarter was fantastic. We were at the bottom of more packs than them, and the last few minutes was frantic. They have had a couple of really good individual efforts, and wrapped to get the win.
I guess, does it serve as a reminder, though, that there's very little margin for error? Because it felt for large parts of the day like you guys were the better team, and yet that little run and then a couple of goals at the end, and all of a sudden you only walk off with a narrow win. So there's not much room to slip up, is there?
No, there's not. And this competition is tight from, I reckon, maybe second spot up till the bottom, so the 9th spot. And like I said, we just fought hard, and I reckon our goal kicking maybe let us down a little bit, kicking a fair few points, and we gave them the belief they could still run over the top of us.
Speaking of goal kicking, you kicked a couple yourself today, but there was one in the third quarter. Now, you had that shot on goal. I think there was maybe even a little bit of a celebration. Did the ball actually hit the post? Or
yeah, it did. I was trying to celebrate on the umpire and calling it a goal, to be honest. But I saw it hit the post.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so, but look, I was just wrapped that we got the win, and I reckon that's the most important part for us. Now we've got 2 in a row, like I said, and we'll come back and hopefully get another one next game.
You mentioned how open it is in Division 1 at the moment in the middle of the ladder. there's a lot of different teams that can, I suppose, fight for those final two spots because Tulla and West Coburg are probably locked in at the moment. You've got your Glen Roys, you've got your Taylors Lakes, perhaps even West Meadows at the moment. What does Hadfield have to do to make sure that they're up there with those clubs when you do play against these clubs? Because that's perhaps a knock on the Hawks at the moment, just that you might be that step behind those other clubs. What do you have to do to make sure that when you come against these sides, which are going to be very big games now in the second half of the year, that not only you're competitive, but you try and get these wins to be able to make sure that you can get in the finals?
Our four-quarter effort, I reckon, because West Meadows, we let them kick, I think, 6 or 7 goals in the second term, and we're up at quarter time. So just staying in the game for 4 quarters rather than having lapses, and we're going to get that with the young side. But hopefully we mature and we can see that we can go and run, give the top teams a run for their money, and hopefully we play 4 quarters of footy, and that's all I reckon that separates us from the top 3 or 4.
So talent-wise, man versus man, you feel you guys can match it with these guys?
Massive belief in the blokes that we have playing out there. 22, and we're Warriors. We want to play for each other.
Well, Raaf, congratulations on being our Sporting Globe Player of the Match. Hadfield 11-17-83, defeating Oak Park 12-4-76. 7 points in the end, and the Oak Park coach, Ben Chapman, has joined us here in the box. Ben, unfortunately, the second time we've spoken to you after a defeat this year, like the Glenroy game, and again another close loss, so frustrating. What's your reaction, and what did you tell the boys in the rooms after the match?
Yeah, really frustrated, obviously. We just spoke about another missed opportunity, and we've had plenty of them in the first half of the year so far. We dominated a lot of general play. There was 10 minutes, the last 10 minutes of the second quarter really hurt us. They lifted their intensity around the ball. We dropped off a little bit, played reactive footy. Naturally, then you're playing catch-up for the rest of the day. We thought in the last quarter we'd give ourselves a chance, obviously, to really apply some scoreboard pressure and get ourselves back in the game. I think we got within the kick and then just couldn't quite hit the front. They managed to go forward and kick one. So, a day of missed opportunities.
You mentioned the end of the second quarter. It felt like you were quite comfortable actually playing in your back 50 and defending, because it was probably down there for 7 or 8 minutes without any meaningful score, and then it just turned into 2 quick back-to-back goals. Was it just a pressure thing, or did you notice some specific errors that caused the resistance to break, or was it just Hadfield's good play?
Oh, look, in fairness to Hadfield, I think, as I said, they lifted and their intensity lifted. Our guys didn't respond during that period. They managed to win the ball out of the middle, which in turn puts your defenders under pressure straight away. Knowing that they were winning the ball, their mids had pushed forward, which created more numbers inside 50, and that's how they broke the game open. They managed to kick goals pretty quickly, and I think they kicked 4 unanswered just before half-time. So, in the end of the 7-point game, that's pretty critical and arguably the difference in the game.
Ben, commiserations. I know that you probably you don't want to dwell on particular moments, but obviously towards the end there was an opportunity for Brad Cox to kick a goal from set shot, and then an umpiring decision that went against Jack Kennedy that could have gone either way. How do you, I guess, deal with those instances? Do you speak to those players individually and Bruce said morale, do you give them a spray, or how do you go about coaching those two blokes in those situations?
In fairness to Brad Cox, an under-18 fella playing his first senior game, a lot of people wouldn't know he actually played in the under-18s this morning. Yeah. We had a player pull out at 12:30 this afternoon and had to play him after he played a full game in the 18s. Yeah. So, in fairness to him, heavy legs, heavy ball, I think it's unrealistic to pigeonhole him for that mistake. In regards to the Kennedy mark, come free kick, from where I was, it looked like the free kick was there. The 50-metre penalty may be a little bit dubious afterwards, but, that's footy. I spoke to Brad and was really happy with his output and what he was able to bring to us. We tried to manage him early on, not give him too much workload, I guess, after having played this morning. So, he's done enough to probably justify playing again next week or the next game that we play. In regards to Jack Kennedy, look, he knows. He's been around footy a long time. As you say, it probably could have went either way. I think the thing is, and people, and I might get into trouble for this, but people within the competition have reputations. Generally, the 50-50 ones don't go your way if you've got a reputation of being a bit of a yapper back to the umpires at times. So, as I said, that's footy.
And I will mention it that Just the ball did come out of bounds here, and you know, Jack went over to pick up Heath McCurtha, so you know his direct opponent. So obviously you can't fault his sort of attitude towards footy. But up forward, I thought you guys were pretty structured. Well, I think we spoke after the Glenroy game. We talked about how the forward line was dysfunctional at times, but Aiden Harris really seemed to find a lot of space today, and you seemed like you had some really good opportunities to move the ball quickly from defence and kick goals at the other end.
Yeah, we tried to do that. We noticed early on, we thought that they, under pressure inside their defensive 50, we were always looked like we were going to score most of the time, particularly if we could get the ball goal side. And when you've got blokes like Harrison and Kennedy that have got leg speed that can run goal side, it puts any side under pressure. So we knew that was the case. In regards to Aiden, Aiden's worked really hard during the year. You know, he's been our best forward over the first half of the season. He just hasn't had his kicking boot on at times, but today he managed to kick 4 straight. So, yeah, he got reward for his hard work.
The mid-season break, does it come at a good time for Oak Park, considering you had the 2 wins, which is obviously really important for the club to get that win after such a long stretch, and you were able to back that up, and obviously more competitive today against Hadfield. Does it come at a good time for your particular club at the moment, especially considering that once you are back, it's 2 very tough fixtures against West Coburg and Tyler that you've got facing you?
Yeah, look, up until today, obviously, you know, if we had been able to get over the line, it would have been 3 straight. You try not to break momentum if you can help it. You know, we would have liked to have played again next week. If you win 3 in a row, you try and keep that momentum going. You know, in fairness to the group, and I think I said after the Glenroy game, they've been up and competitive for a long time, you know, without being able to win. And that's what we spoke about after the game again today, obviously. So the breaks probably come at a good time, gives us a chance to reload, gives the guys a bit of a break, both physically and mentally. We'll train Tuesday night and then probably have Thursday night off, give them the weekend off, and then come back and try and prepare for West Coburg, who obviously, you know, embarrassed us in round 1, so we feel as though it'll be a test for us on how far we've come.
And just on, after the Glenroy game, we said that you had the run, Hillside, Craigieburn, Hadfield, potential make or break. It actually feels like we've got just as many questions about your team as we did before that run. So from your point of view, are you a little bit more comfortable about where your team stands, or is there still that threat that if Craigieburn was to pull off the upset somewhere, that you guys might still be in the hot seat for relegation?
I guess there's always that doubt until you've got enough games on whoever it is that's chasing you. There's always that doubt, I guess. From our point of view, we know that we're competitive with every side. You know, at the moment we control our own destiny, which probably is the best thing about it. That if we continue to play good footy, win games of footy, it doesn't come into play at all. You know, Craigieburn have to win obviously 1 more than us, and there's a little bit of percentage there as well. So on the way in, if we can control our own destiny and keep winning, then, you know, things turn around pretty quickly. As you said, going into this game, I think there's 2 games between the side that was 8th and the side that was 4th. So, you know, it's a really even competition. If you can string 3 or 4 together, then all of a sudden you're pushing to play finals. So, yeah, from our point of view, we'll just worry about what we can control. And if it gets to a point where that happens, well, then it happens.
Second last game of the year is that potential massive game with Craigieburn. So up until that point, obviously, it's important to, I suppose, stay that 1 step ahead of them, ahead of that massive game. I know it's a long, long way away. There's a lot of water to go onto the bridge, but do you eye off that game as like that will be make or break? That's basically a virtual final.
Not at all. Yeah. No, not at all. We, as I said, we've been competitive in every game we've played besides round 1. We would like to think, and you know, we've still got plenty of room for improvement. We're hopeful, and we go into every game expecting to win. You know, we don't think that we go into a game and it's done before we start. If we play our best footy, and this is no disrespect to the other teams in the competition, but if we turn up and play our best footy for 100 minutes, we can beat any side in the competition. And we know that, and our results don't reflect how well we've played in patches. What it probably does reflect is our inability to play 100 minutes, which is what's happened in the first half of the year. So if we can do that in the second half, we won't need to worry about the second last game or the third last game or the last game, because we would have done enough to be out of that danger zone by then.
Well, Ben, thanks so much for giving us your time again. All the best with the week off and the regrouping, and look forward to the second half of the season. Hopefully we see you in better circumstances soon. Thanks for joining us.
No worries. Thanks very much.